welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and we're going for another wee wander around paradise. But today, I'm joined by my good friend, Tony Haggerty from the Celtic Way. Welcome to your first wander, Tony.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been good. Had a cracking weekend. I was in Dublin, went to see the Sultans of Ping FC. So just back with this morning. So all good. But yeah, looking forward to this.
Just back from Dublin, straight up to Celtic Park. It doesn't get much better than that.
It's a Carlsberg weekend.
It is, really. It's a Carlsberg weekend if Celtic win, Tony. And of course, that's exactly what happened. Scottish Cup, the name is in the hat. It's in the draw for the semi-finals.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all plain sailing, was it, against Livingston?
No, I think most people were, their gripe was about the defending. I think in all cup games, you have to say, name being in the hat's imperative, isn't it? A couple of silver linings in those clouds. Maeda's hat-trick in his 100th game. Kuhn started to look the part. Best game in a Celtic jersey. And I also credit Livingston for coming and having a go, at least, and making it. It was a good old-fashioned cup tie. I thought, and I never thought Celtic were in any real danger. Again, self-inflicted defensive wounds, isn't it? Caught out by long balls, but the two goals that were scored by Livingston, they were put away well.
Yeah.
You have to say that. So
yep.
I credit them for that and not coming and, playing men behind the ball. They played to their strengths. Let's put it that way.
They did. We were speaking about this. We have sometimes the same disparity of financial power when we go into Europe, Tony, as we do on the flip side against teams like Livingston. The example I gave was that some of their players earn £500 a week. But you know what? That all goes out the window when you come to Celtic Park. They raised their game.
Yeah.
They made it a proper cup tie. There was a 2-in and a 4-in and all that. And I share your thoughts. I don't think that we were in any danger. But see it 2-2 when Joe Hart made that save.
Yeah.
And then the importance of him as a leader, obviously captain for the day. These things are often forgotten, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, that was a vital save. I think that was Livingston's best chance. Had they gone ahead, it would have been interesting to see how Celtic would have reacted to that. And I think that's what everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of, isn't it? That, as I say, I thought they were comfortable enough. They were creating chances, missing chances as well. But defensively, when Cameron Carter-Vickers isn't there, it's, you miss him.
Massively. I mean, he is obviously the vice-captain and Joe Hart is third in line. But that brings up the fact that Callum McGregor wasn't in the midfield. We were without Carter-Vickers, of course. We're now without Abada, who's left the building, and Rio Hatate. How worried are you that these injuries are starting to pile up?
Yeah, they are piling up, and I think it's the manager I feel sorry for. All season, whenever he's trying to get built up ahead of steam, something has happened. They've been slapped in the face, another injury, suspension or whatever. And I've spoken before, people say, he doesn't know his strongest 11. He's not the chance to play his strongest 11. I'm sure he does know his strongest 11. Brendan has forgotten more about football than you and I know, so he knows his strongest 11. He's just not the chance to play it all season. And you can say what you like, these things do have a bearing on what happens in the course of a season. Rio Hatate's been missing more or less the whole huge miss. Yeah, Cameron Carter-Vickers has missed a hell of a lot of football this season. There's Callum McGregor going to miss vital games in the run-in. These things add up, and it's frustrating for a manager, but he can only go with a squad that is fit.
And I think it's fair to mention it, Tony, because people are giving Brendan Rodgers a half-time this season, saying that he's torn up a treble-winning side. The football's turgid, it's boring to watch, there isn't tempo. But when you're missing the guys we've spoken about, it's going to be difficult. And again, the problem being, going back to recruitment, we haven't got the boys in the building who can step up.
No, it took two windows. They've let themselves down badly, or the players have been brought in. I make the point a lot that there's no point in having an elite level manager, and I think you share this with that he's an elite level manager, but you can't give him substandard players. You can't sign 10 players in a summer window and one of them only make the grade, and even then he's struggling to get a starting game this minute, i.e. Lewis Palmer. So that's the nub and the crux of it all. And, the manager's not entirely blameless. We've said that before. Some of the stuff that Celtic have played this season, has been turgid, it's been laborious, and for want of a better expression, it's been boring, right? And I think every Celtic supporter would agree that. But when they connect and they get it right, there has been some moments to watch. But it's been a season of moments. Stop-start season for me. Every time, as I say, you try and get ahead of steam, something's happened, but it's been a season of moments as opposed to a consistent run of games where I think the most consistent run of games Celtic have had this season is 6 wins in a spin, isn't it?
Yeah. Stopped by Hearts, of course, to tell the league. Tony, one of the big discussion points all season has been the wing play. It's something we started taking for granted in the previous 2 seasons, the double and the treble winning season, when the wingers were so effective. And I know we've now lost Jota and Abada, and we've put a couple of our wingers out on loan, and they seem to be doing okay. So going into that game, I wasn't quite sure who we would be playing on the right, because Palmer was added to the injury list, and we brought in Kuhn. So I think he played his best game in a Celtic jersey. He hadn't really done anything up to that point, other than a goal against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
But the start of the game for me was the iconic, or is it the cult icon that is Daizen Maeda?
Yes. He's doing very well since he started to grow his hair, hasn't he? It's
glorious.
It's glorious. You know, I was on another podcast and I christened him Mixed Bag Maeda, right? That's his full name. You never know what you're going to get with Maeda, but obviously you get the
honest same game.
Yeah, honest endeavour and effort and the tracking back and all that, and the Celtic fans love all that energy that he brings. But see, when he's on his game like that, you know, he's excellent to watch. And you know, he scored 3 cracking goals yesterday. Real strikers' goals, coming from a wide position, and deserved his man of the match. But you have to say, Kuhn ran him close. That was, and you know, when you sign wingers, that's what you want to see from Kuhn. He was attacking his man all the time when he had the beating of his man, and he grew in confidence from that. People used to always say that about wingers. You could always tell with their first touch if they were going to be. And if you were growing up in my day, you used to dread David Cooper playing here, and then guys would turn to me and say, "He's not on it today." Great, Celtic would win.
Yeah,
and then they would say, "Oh no." You know,
and the flip, what about wee Joe against
Joe Miller, no, guys like that, right?
Rose to the occasion every time.
Of course. So, you know, so as I say, I was just kind of making that pertinent to when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And they used to always say that about guys like Cooper or David Provan. The first touch, you know, the first ball that came out of the air, if they pulled it down and skinned the guy, they were like, he's on it. And more often than not, that tended to be the case, isn't it? And so, you know, wingers are temperamental. So I think Kuhn maybe suffers from you know, he got the goal against Aberdeen, made things happen that day, good start, people were like, great, did nothing since.
No.
And then came in for some ferocious criticism, as
written off by many.
So I'd like to think this is the start of a wee resurgence for Kuhn, but as I say, Daizen Maeda, I just accept whatever Daizen Maeda brings to the table. You know, he's got a hat-trick one week, and then he'll sky the ball out the park when he's crossing the following week. I just accept that because, as you say, he's cult status now, isn't he?
He definitely is a cult icon, Tony.
Yeah.
We've spoken about the cult icon status of Daizen Maeda. The real hero status of Kyogo as well is present. He's not had the best of seasons. Again, going back to what you said, there's been moments, Tony.
Yeah.
But he came on, he got his goal, and I'm just wondering, is there a way we can get him and Ida on the pitch in a starting 11?
I want to shoehorn both of them in. I'm trying to transmit that vibe to Brendan every time I speak in a podcast. Like, I want to see the two of them. I want that two up front. He's just been, you know, risk averse, hasn't he, with that so far. But I do. It is my hope that before the end of the season he plays a front two. And I know it's not something that he favours or he likes to do, but I just want to see how it would pan out.
Yeah. And you know, when you're playing Livingston, who are the worst team in the league, sitting bottom of the table, you think it's a good opportunity to make that change and to try that, maybe a change of formation. I mean, Kyogo, 14 goals this season. By the end of the campaign, if he starts getting games again, he might end up with a 20-goal season, which was what he got in his first campaign. And you can maybe look at it and say, listen, it was a wee bit trickier, the transition, maybe from Ange Postecoglou to Brendan Rodgers, but he still comes through with 20 goals. I mean, that, for me, is still realistic, Tony.
Yeah, of course it is, and I think that was a wee timely reminder from Kyogo what he's about yesterday, and you saw the delight in his face when he turned in the big cheer that went up, because Kyogo as a goal scorer has never disappeared. You have to play to his strengths, and you know, and ironically, the way Celtic played in the games where Ida scored these goals, they were tailor-made for Kyogo.
Yeah.
You know, with the balls across the face, and
that first half
is
absolutely.
You know, so I think Kyogo cut a frustrated figure. So I think he was just unleashing a wee bit of venom with that strike yesterday. But just a reminder, guys, this is what I do. This is my trade. Put the ball in front of me, I'll score.
Exactly, and he does so well. In those moments, of course, twice have come against Rangers this season.
Yeah.
So I'm looking ahead to that fixture and thinking, will Kyogo feature in that start 11? Let's hope that he does. But I don't think either has played badly enough to get dropped. So if there's a way getting the two of them in the side, let's obviously do that as well. We've looked at the positives, Tony, but there was a few concerns, I think, about the display, and most certainly for me, the central defensive partnership was weak at the weekend, and I think that's a concern for me. I know that if you remove Carter Vickers out of any defence, it's going to weaken it, but the Scales and Welsh defensive partnership for me was too easily breached at the weekend, and that's a concern for me.
My biggest concern was David Martindale sensed that vulnerability.
Yeah.
Started throwing big players on and started thinking there's something in it for us. And they were given encouragement by the fact that Celtic defence was poor. Both goals conceded were poor. The execution of both goals was terrific.
Brilliant.
Mentioned that earlier.
Great finishes.
Yeah. You know, but both guys still had a lot to do. But they were given the freedom of Celtic Park upon which to exploit it, weren't they? And that Scales and Welsh were giving you real scares every time Livingston came forward. There was no leadership there, like a Cameron Carter-Vickers taking control of the situation. Both tended to try and leave it to each other. None of them wanted to be that commanding centre-back. And I know they're up against big guys, but part and parcel of football. You know, you deal with it.
Absolutely. I mean, one of them will start against Rangers, probably Scales.
Yep.
Carter-Vickers, let's hope, is back for that game. There are conflicting reports at the moment as to how long he's going to be out. Same with Callum McGregor as well. I'm hoping both of them and Hatate are back for that game. Is it time? We know that the gaffer perhaps doesn't rate him so highly. Is it time to give Lagerbielke some minutes, Tony?
I think if you're going to do your kind of due diligence before Ibrox, then you'd have to, wouldn't you? But it's the biggest indictment of the recruitment process that Celtic have £8 million worth of defenders that can't get a game.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to that, doesn't it? With Mike Nowowski and Gustav Lagerbielke. Manager just clearly doesn't think that
They're up to it.
They're up to it. Which has seen the likes of Scales and Welsh leap over them and the kind of pecking order. And that says it all, doesn't it? You spend Celtic can't afford to fritter away £8 million on two defenders who can't get a game for the club.
No.
And that should not happen again.
Well, Brendan Rodgers reckons that the two guys that were already here are better than the two that were signed. He said at the weekend James Forrest is the best winger at the club, and we've signed about 1 million of them this season as well. Now I'm going to have one of those flashback moments, Tony, that you will remember when Jerry McNee pulled out a medal. Remember that?
Yes.
Maybe not as prestigious as a Jimmy McGrory Scottish Cup final medal, but I've got to say a massive thank you to Willie Hockey and the Jimmy Johnston Academy for presenting myself and others who were involved in the St Rochs and Tina game. You were there, you enjoyed that, Tony.
Yep.
A magnificent gesture from them, so thank you very much. That will take pride of place in the Acsom studio behind the bulletin, so thank you very much to everybody involved in that as well. What else has Acsom been up to? Well, talking of cult icons and cult heroes, we will be with one of those very shortly. Paddy McCourt is coming to join us at Gracie's on the 4th of April. And you could be in with a chance of winning 2 tickets. What I want you to do, if you're interested in winning 2 VIP tickets to that gig, is email me with the name of your cult hero and why. That's all I want you to do. It's not a quiz. Tell me your cult hero, why they're your cult hero, and email me at pauljondykes@gmail.com. And 2 tickets will be coming your way if you're lucky. There'll be a random draw, and you might be able to join us at Gracie's in Glasgow. I've got to say, it's been brilliant, as always, to be reacquainted with this gentleman to my right, Tony Haggerty. We shared some great times on Acsom. Tony, where can we find your writing, your views, your observations and your live streams?
You can find me on the Celtic Way. We do a podcast every morning from 10 o'clock onwards.
You can find you on the Celtic Way, you're right.
Quite literally find me on the Celtic Way right now, yeah, indeed. And it's also a subscription-based website. We're doing a great deal at the minute. It's £1 for 6 months, and you subscribe to www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. You'll see us on there do the YouTube videos for free as well, so you can log on to the podcast too. But that's where you can find me. Everything's on there. My opinions, my views, my rantings. Call it what you like.
Well, I heard a story once that Johnny Cash always wore pink. I know he was famous for being a man in black. He always wore pink. Sometimes it would have been his underwear or his socks. This man always wears green. So tune in to watch his views on the Celtic way. It's been an absolute pleasure. And join us again tomorrow at 12:30 for a Celtic State of Mind.